Grand Rising, sweet souls. This is YaYa, the mystic, energy, intuitive, and unifier. Uh, Surf hair, don't care. Just got back from surfing not too long ago. Had a blast. Oh my god, it was so much fun. Um, I went with one of my brothers from Op Surf, and we had a blast. He's like one person that I like. I don't want to say I count on, but I know that if I ever like reach out and like say, hey, I want to surf or I need to chat or anything like that, he'll be like, hey, what's up? You know, and I really appreciate that in him. Um, but this morning I left the house about like 6:30, got there between 6:45 and 7. Took a look at the waves and I was like, ooh, that's gonna be fun. Cause I was watching the surfers that were already out there and they were like over their heads. I was like, dang, that's pretty big waves. We'll see. I'll give it a try. So I've only been surfing for like a year. I started June of 2024 through the local OS3 program through Op Surf, and went through a couple transitions of boards. One of them was the first one I was on was a 9 wide. I called it a Cadillac Coupe de Ville because it was big and long, big and wide. Or that's what it reminded me of. Been on a 10-foot, but my current board that I have from Op Surf is called Goldilocks because she's not 9 foot, she's not 10, she's 9'6", and 24 inches wide, 4-inch depth, and then different measurements on the tail and the head. Tail and the head. Yeah, I said that right. So I'm still getting used to the board because when I surf with Op Surf, the local program, we have to be mindful that they're new surfers, so we usually all are on foamies. A couple times I brought my Goldilocks out, but I had to be mindful to like stay away from everybody, so then I don't have to worry about accidentally hitting them in the head or something with my hard top. But yeah, first wave, like, okay, so also another thing that we do with Op Surf is we always, like in the beginning, we used to do a challenge and a goal, and in the end, we do a lesson learned and a celebration, right? So I was doing the challenge and a goal for a while, but that really became like the only thing is like getting out in the water and trying to learn as much as I can and surrendering to the unknown, to the will of the universe and the ocean, right? So that's always been my challenge and goal. I gotta put lotion on, my hands are so dry here, sorry. And then a lot of lessons learned today, oh my goodness. So my first wave, I realized that as I was catching the wave, like now I'm finally feeling, this is a big thing for me. I'm finally feeling what it feels like for the curl of the wave to start forming. And when it curls, it kind of sucks you in as it goes, right? Like here's you and here's the wave coming this way. So that was like the biggest thing for me last week, like actually feeling what it felt like to be caught by the wave as I'm trying to ride it. And so today I catch this big one. I honestly don't know how big it is because I ended up being too far forward on my board and I did a nosedive. And as I did a nosedive, when I hit the water, I seriously, like, 4 little neck bubbles, bones, whatever. I think they're bubbles because our bones don't really go out of place. It's the fascia, muscles, and air bubbles or whatever they are around your bones that cause the misalignment in your spine or in your neck. So I hit, and no joke, pop, 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 and I'm somersaulting, and just this little line popped up in my head. Y'all remember those movies, or not movies, the little memes or the Vine videos or Fail Army where someone will say, this is just what popped in my head. I heard And in this moment, she realized she fucked up. Because I was like too far forward on my nose on the board, and I forgot like I needed to like transfer my weight to the back to where I could keep my nose up, because like the board's got to balance, right? It has a certain point, and you got to hit that sweet spot. Well, I was too far forward, so it was like this, and I didn't move myself back, and I was just like, oh my goodness. So I get out of the somersault, and I get back. I wait for the set to pass, because they were pretty long sets this morning, and anytime I tried to go mid-set, I would like have to fight more, so I had to be mindful of my energy, right? 555. That's so funny how I said mindful of energy and 555 comes up. I have to find what that correlates. But anyway, so I told my brother when I got back out to the outside, and it was in that moment she fucked up, and he laughed. He was like, "Yeah, that's hilarious." And then it was just catching a couple more. I think the next wave I got to my knees, but then I was so squirrely because, I'm still working on lifting weights and building up my core muscles and all that stuff. So I'm literally a work in progress, and I always will be, because I'm all about change, adaptation, and transformation, and transcending and ascending. But anyway, it was just so fabulous out today. I also was calling in some waves. I thought about not doing it because there were so many people out there, and some people just they don't know like what I know spiritually about Gaia and Mother Earth and the waves and the water and all that stuff. So at first I was like, no, they might think I'm weird. And then I heard, who gives a fuck what they think? So I sat there because we had been sitting there for a good it felt like 5-10 minutes in between sets of, big decent waves from the outside. So I do my call, and I hear like murmurs, over here to the right of me as I'm facing the water. And then those murmurs were the same people that ended up catching the waves that I was calling in. So once I realized, like, hey, I need to just keep shining, do me, who cares what people think, I kept calling in the waves. And there was this one girl here, she reminded me of one of my soul sisters. She had beautiful blonde hair and like brown eyes. And she was just awesome. I guess she caught on to like, hey, this girl's calling in the waves, because she got closer and closer. And her and my brother were gonna wanted to catch a wave around the same time, and he saw that she wanted to, and he's all, go for it. And so she took the wave, and she like, man, I really hope that one day my surfing will be as effortless as this divine feminine that was out in the water, because honestly, like, the way that she took the waves, and like when she was done riding it, she'd hop back on her board and just like seamlessly flow with the water. And I'm like, girl, you make surfing look like it's effortless. Like, but then again, I have to give myself grace, because I've only been surfing for a year, and it was like 2 days a week for 3 months. And then when November hit and the waves started getting bigger, I kind of was like, I'm not ready for this yet. And then I've been surfing a little bit off and on since, I want to say, the beginning of spring. Because even in like March, like the waves were kind of a little too big for me. I need to be mindful, because I almost lost my life in the ocean when I was a kid. Like, I had an out of body experience, and I'll get to that another day. But for me being in the water the way I am, both swimming and surfing, like I have overcome so much from that because I could have drew fear in me, right? So anyway, she catches a beautiful wave. My brother did super good today. Like he caught so many waves. And there was one of them. He's like, I went left and then I decided to go right. And I was like, oh, to be able to turn. Like I'm so like happy for him that he caught all these awesome waves. And they were big because he's like easily like 6'2", 6'3". And once he got on the wave and the wave was cresting, I couldn't even see his head. So we were dealing with pretty decent sized waves this morning. We just had a lot of fun. And I was calling in, I think we called in our next set. And we were both trying to take this wave in, and I told him like, hey, I'm gonna belly board these sets in because I'm not even worried about like standing at this point. I just want to, like, I'm just getting tired. And he's like, all right, he was right there with me. But this wave came, I called these sets of waves in for us, and we're getting ready. And I'm like, all right, here comes a big one. And we get ready for it. And no joke, it took both of us out. I was a little ahead of him. So I look back and he's like, all I see is his board. And I was like, oh my goodness, that was so funny. So we gathered ourselves together again, went back out to a good spot. And then I was just like, I'm just going to catch them in as they roll through, and caught one, rocket ship to the shore. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I really love surfing. I really do. Like I said, I have to give myself grace and patience though, because I'm nowhere even near a novice. Like I'm a baby surfer because I feel more comfortable on my knees or belly boarding, because the whole balance thing in the water, like, I could work on pop up, and I think I'm going to start working on my pop up, but I don't know. I used to be a skateboarder, but a skateboard, like I rode the small trick boards around, and that's completely different. Being on wheels and being on land, to me, it doesn't transfer in the water because the water is so unpredictable. Like I could work on one of those balance board things, but my brain is like, would it even bother? I don't know. Maybe I'll get that for myself for Christmas coming up this year or something. But yeah, I just had a blast. I'm like, I'm going to make an effort to go out at least 3 days a week, because we've got literally 2 sessions left of this local program of Op Surf, and then they graduate on the 8th of August on Friday. And then Saturday is our Op Surf day. So we're hoping that the guys will come out on Saturday, the ones that are able to come out. And they're gonna get their boards ready. They're gonna launch their boards in the water. Excuse me. But yeah, the board launch day is like so important, because I had the opportunity to do it last year. So we graduated last year on August 23rd, I think, towards the end of the month. And then the next day we had our 3 or 4 day camp out. So I had the opportunity to take my time and wax my board and get the fins in and get it all ready to go. No, we already got our fins in, you know what I mean. I got time to wax the board and do what I needed to do to be able to launch it the next day. So at least they have a surf day right after their graduation. And I'm just, the gratitude is just so abundant right now, 1414, of this journey that I'm on, and the people that I have in my life, and the connections I am establishing and maintaining. And life is just so beautiful. I've got so much going on for me, and I am worthy and deserving of it all, because everything that I desire is already mine. All that beautiful stuff. So I am going to come on here later and work on an update, because I really feel that one thing that we need to talk about as a collective is how we use our words and what we say and the resonance and vibration behind each word. So I really got to think about it. I need to write things down. I do have a start of something. What I've been doing is every week when we have the canteen for Operation Surf, I've been writing down the prompt and what I want to say about it, because if I don't write it down and I wing it, I don't say everything that I desire to say. And then the thoughts just go. So I'm really going to be mindful of how I want to speak my truth, to where I'm using couth and tact, but I'm also speaking from my heart and ensuring that I come from a place of love and experience, using I statements and we when I want to speak about everybody. So a lot of exciting things coming, guys. I do thank y'all if you are listening this far. I'm over at 16 minutes, but you know what? As I've told myself before, like, yes, I am doing this for other people, but I'm mostly doing it for myself so that I'm able to track my progress in my journey and to be able to look back and be like, see, this is when you learned this lesson and this is when you learned that lesson, So then if that lesson ever comes up again, then I know, like, well, I've already learned this. What else can I take out of it? It's so important. As I always say, you do you, boo. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I love you. Mwah.